to my channel. If you're new here, you are very welcome. My name is Roha and I'm from a beautiful country called Namibia. Now today's video is going to be a little bit different. I just figured that it's been a while since I've actually done a story time, and although I am happy and I'm in a very good mood today, I chose to tell this story, although it does kind of make me sad, but it was my experience and I obviously have nothing to hide or nothing to shy away from. So today I want to talk about the time in my life when I was actually homeless in a foreign country. And the reason is because usually when your friends and relatives and your acquaintances look at you, they always think like, oh, you're living such a glamorous life and you are living abroad, life must be so good, but I'm just here to tell you guys that life is not as people think it is. I'm not going to lie, I did obviously have a very wonderful life in Malaysia. I was living very comfortably, and I can't say that I've really ever faced any hardships, but this was like the one time, or let me rather say the second time. I'll tell you guys the other story another day. The second time that I've actually felt like, oh my God, like life is so hard for me right now. So basically, what happened is that I relocated back home for a year because of the pandemic, and I was still doing my research for my MBA. So I felt like, you know what, instead of actually wasting my money on rent and everything else, let me go home because I'm only left with my research. I can basically do that from back home. I don't have to be in Malaysia. So I went back home and we never resumed classes. So I stayed at home. I was actually working online. I used to teach for one school in Malaysia, and our classes had also moved online. And then I was doing my research at the same time. So it was very convenient for me, So I was back home and life was okay and everything. I was happy. Although I couldn't really find any opportunity that was quite appealing to me, but I wasn't really, I wasn't in a rush yet because I was actually busy with my research and stuff, and also having my other job. So what did happen is that in 2022 January, the company that I was working for, they reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to work there again, because I had already gotten that offer before. That was in 2020. So this time they were only re-offering me the contract, right? And then I agreed to it, and they basically booked my ticket, and they paid for my ticket. They also paid for my hotel for 2 weeks, which I was really grateful for, because I believe the hotel was booked for so that it would give me ample time to find accommodation. Okay, so I got to Malaysia and I was very excited, new opportunity, and I would be working, I would be meeting new people, new colleagues and all that, and learning new stuff. So we actually started working from home because it was still the time of the pandemic. And so I was in my hotel and I was looking for accommodation, and I was constantly looking for a place to stay because I only had 2 weeks. I did feel though that it wasn't enough time, and to be honest, like I just wasn't getting accommodation. It's not like I couldn't pay for the accommodation, I just couldn't get. Everyone I texted and every landlord I texted, every agent I texted was just saying no. And some of them were obviously saying that no, the owner doesn't rent to foreigners, or the owner doesn't rent to black people, which is obviously understandable because some landlords don't actually rent to foreigners because they've had bad experiences with foreigners, so they prefer to rent to locals. Whereas some landlords have not had any issues renting to foreigners, so they do still rent to foreigners. That's the only thing that I see here, because I've lived in Malaysia before, and I know the mindset, I know how they think. It's not really to say that, oh, you guys are such bad people or whatever the case. It's usually based on experiences that they've, gone through. So for me, I wasn't like too hurt or anything. I was just really disappointed that no matter how much I tried getting a place, I just wasn't getting a place. And to be honest, like I remember it was like the last week of my stay in the hotel, and I couldn't stop crying because I was talking to my mom and I was just telling her like, I can't find a place to stay. Every landlord that I've contacted has told me no. And right now, I really don't know where I'm going to stay because my best friend has moved back to Russia, and everyone that I technically knew has moved because we've already graduated. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. And I feel bad because if I was in Namibia, I was like thinking the same. I was like thinking if I was in Namibia, I wouldn't be facing this. We do have like several apartments back home, and I have a home back home. So I'm like, why am I going through this? This is so hard for me right now. And I just remember crawling back into bed and just crying. And so what I did is actually book the same hotel because I didn't want to move because I had quite, I had my luggage and stuff and I just didn't want to unpack them. So I was like, all right, cool. Let me book for another week so that I'll be able to find accommodation. So I was staying in that hotel for 3 weeks. It was now 3 weeks because I added another week and I still didn't find accommodation. Everyone was saying no. And I'm like, oh my goodness, what is this? So I'm the kind of person, I really hate asking for help. If it's not from my parents, I hate asking for help. And in this situation, there's like literally nothing that my parents can do for me. Because it's not like I need money, I just can't find a place. And I'm thinking, who am I going to ask? And am I ready to swallow my pride? Am I really ready to ask for help? And I do recognize that sometimes not wanting to ask for help is just really a response to probably PTSD or some unhealed parts of us, because I'm aware that it's perfectly normal to ask for help. Nobody can do it on their own. It's just really taking me time to accept that sometimes I need help, especially for the kind of person that I am. I'm a very independent person. I like to do things for myself and I like to not owe anyone anything. So I did feel really bad and I just felt so hopeless and I was just so sad. And so I thought, who shall I ask? So I did actually end up texting Fakru. Fakru is like a brother to me, and he's also one of the people that have actually helped me get through my MBA process, because during that time I was actually going through chronic depression, and he was there 100% to always remind me to do my research every single day. And he was working at the time as a marine engineer, so he was also working very late. So most of the evenings that he was working, I was working on my MBA, and it was really because he was pushing me to do that. So we do have a very good relationship, and I also used to go to Fakridam's house back then for sleepovers because my best friend Fenya was also living there. So we used to also shoot TikTok videos and stuff on their channels. So we were very we all had a very good relationship. We're like family basically. And so I did ask him, and then he said that of course I'm very welcome, because he's not even staying in the house. He's actually staying in another town, but the house is empty, so I can stay there. So I ended up staying there, and then I stayed there for some time. And to be honest, guilt started kicking in because I still couldn't find a place, and it was already 2 weeks, and I'm just like, I feel so bad, and I feel embarrassed that I need so much help. So fast forward, I spoke to my friend Ali, and Ali is, to be honest, one of the best people that anyone can ever meet. He is my best friend, and I think he will always be my best friend. So I spoke to Ali, and Ali told me, okay, great, you know what? I'm going to move out of my house and I'm going to my cousin's house. You can stay in my house for as long as you need till you find a place. Because the other issue that I had is, so when I moved to Ali's place, I then found a place, but then I found a very, very beautiful place, you guys. It was, if you saw like our facilities and stuff, the swimming pool area, the outside area, where the gym is, you would think I was living in some luxury hotel. Our condominium was so gorgeous, so beautiful, and it was new. We were actually the first people to move in there. So I was like, oh God, maybe I was waiting for a reason, because when I saw that place, I was like, oh my goodness. Not only was it beautiful, it was also very affordable. Yeah. So I was staying at Ali's, and then I found a place, but then it took time for me to get the Wi-Fi into the place because it was new, and I think they still had to finalize things with the Wi-Fi providers, so we couldn't get Wi-Fi. And I'm like, oh my goodness. So I actually ended up staying in Ali's place for like a month, you guys. I think about a month. And staying at Ali's was actually really nice, and I know like Ali doesn't care. He really doesn't care. He wanted me to be in his apartment while he's at his cousin's apartment. So I actually just want to say thank you to Fakru for allowing me to stay at his place when I had no one and when I had nowhere to stay. And I also just want to say thank you to Ali for always being there, for always supporting me, for always, just making sure that I'm okay and that I'm happy and safe, and everything that you've done for me, and including like helping me move into the house and carrying the furniture for me and everything. I really just, I hope that a lot of us will get to meet like these kind of amazing friends. And to be honest, like, you guys changed my life. And come to think of it, I do sometimes tell myself that this is probably one of the times that I've had people do things for me, because I'm always the one who's doing things for people. I'm always the one who's hosting people. I'm always the one who's giving people accommodation when they're homeless or when they need a place to stay. I'm always that friend. But I'm the kind of friend who is just, I'm independent. I like to do things for myself. I like to work for what I want and stuff like that. But this time around, it's like I couldn't do anything for myself. I was completely hopeless. I had no power. I had no way out. I had no solutions. And the only thing I could actually do was ask for help. And I'm glad I did, because guys, sometimes you really just need to tell people that, you know what, I can't do this on my own right now. I really need help, you guys. Like, I need your help. So thank you, Fakru, for being there for me in my time of need. And thank you, Ali, for being there for me when I really, really needed someone to be there for me. I will definitely never forget it, because I've never really faced that kind of situation in my entire life. I've never. So being in a situation where I didn't like know where to stay, guys, and in a foreign country for that, I could never. And what did actually make me not panic is obviously the fact that I did have money, and money, not to sound like obnoxious or anything, but money was not the issue. And even if I did actually need extra money, I could have just called my parents that, hey, yo, I do need extra money for this and that. I can't do this on my own right now. And I know that they would have been there, you know. But in this case, it wasn't even an issue of money. It was an issue of just being out of options and just having no way out. So that was my situation, and I'm actually kind of lucky that it happened to me in Malaysia, because I know Malaysia, I know my way around Malaysia, I know where to get cheap hotels, cheap hostels, I know where to get accommodation, I know Malaysia in and out. But if this had happened to me in a very new country that I was not familiar with, I think I would have been more sad. But long story short, I eventually did find a very beautiful place to stay, and this video is really just to say thank you to my friends that were there for me when I really needed someone to be there for me. Because as much as I can say that I'm a strong person, that situation really broke me down, and it just made me like question why I came here. Like, why did I come to Malaysia just to be homeless and to not have a place to stay, you know? I should have stayed home. I should have waited. I should have been more patient. You know, these are the things that were running through my mind. But at the end of the day, it was actually worth the struggle. So guys, like I said, Being abroad is not all glitter and gold. Sometimes you do face like ups and downs, and you need to be like prepared to fight for what you want. If you give up, that's on you. If you keep going, good for you. And that's all from me today. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Ciao!